What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Marvel films. This is episode number 77, and in this episode we got a lot to talk about, but we're first going to start off by talking about Deadpool. Now, what's going on over at the filming of Deadpool? Well, not a whole lot of filming, considering the fact that they just wrapped up principal photography for Deadpool. They're done filming, and now they're going to move on to post-production, which consists of editing, visual effects work at the sound department, and maybe a little bit of reshoots, maybe. But for the most part, they're done filming, which seemed kind of quick, actually, because they were doing a lot of action work, and a lot of fans snapped photos of it. Ryan Reynolds was also tweeting and Instagramming some action sequences, and it seemed like all they were filming was action sequences. So it felt like a really quick shoot, but actually, you know, it's the end of May right now, and they actually started in the end of February, so they were filming for 3 months, and it was a pretty smooth and quick shoot. Aside from the fact that Ryan Reynolds got hit by the car by some member of the paparazzi, and it rained a lot, but that didn't really stop them, so it was a pretty quick shoot. 3 months, that's pretty standard for your, you know, Hollywood action movie. Had there been no action film, had it been not an action film, then it would have taken a lot shorter of a time. But they stuck the filming to filming on location in Vancouver, so because of that, it was a pretty efficient and smooth shoot. So now it's post-production time, and later on we're gonna get some marketing. So very, very exciting, okay? Anyways, also about Deadpool, here's another interesting thing that's going on with the production, and that is Ryan Reynolds put out an invitation to Hugh Jackman to see if he wants to reprise his role as Wolverine for a cameo appearance. Kind of like the cameo appearance he did in X-Men First Class, which was really, really brief. Now, they are open to it. When I mean the production, the filmmakers. They are open to it as long as Hugh Jackman's schedule permits it. Alright? So, as long as Hugh Jackman says yes and he's available to do it, then they'll do it. And it'll be a really, really brief scene. And it'll be a great thing if they really do that. It's not just a nod to the fans, but it reminds us, the fans, that Deadpool is very much still part of the X-Men universe. It's part of the franchise. And, of course, in X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, they shared a scene together, or rather 2 scenes. So, you know what, it's just a reminder to let the fans know that, you know, this is a connected universe. And by having a connected universe, it really, you know, lets the fans know that this is just as huge as the Avengers, even though Avengers is huge, but still, it is a shared universe, alright? So that's really, really exciting. I hope he does it. I really, really hope he does it. It'll be a crowd-pleasing moment if Wolverine appears in Deadpool. Alright, moving on to another big production over at 20th Century Fox, and that is X-Men Apocalypse, which is filming right now. Bryan Singer recently tweeted, or rather Instagrammed, a photo of them filming on a set, and that is Caliban's cave, or Caliban's lair. Now, if you don't know who Caliban is one of the Morlocks, and the Morlocks are led by Callisto, and there's a lot of Morlocks. Morlocks are a bunch of mutants, and there's so many of them, okay? But one thing that's really, really interesting about Caliban is that Caliban has a connection with Apocalypse, or rather En-Sabah-Nur, because he becomes one of the horsemen. So there is that connection there, and I'm curious to know if there are going to be more Morlocks. And what's even more interesting is the fact that Angel Dust is in Deadpool. Angel Dust is a character played by Gina Carano, and Angel Dust is a Morlock. Okay, so we're starting to see that connection there to remind us that this is a shared universe. They're all they're all taking place in the same universe. So that's really, really cool, alright? So, now, speaking of another production that's going on over at 20th Century Fox, that is Gambit. Gambit is a fan favorite of X-Men fans, and that is a film that's coming out in 2016. Channing Tatum is Gambit, and what's very interesting is that Channing Tatum recently mentioned in an interview, and that is Gambit's movie. The Gambit movie will be an origin story. Okay, It's kind of like X-Men Origins Wolverine. Well, Gambit will have his own origin story. And what's very interesting is that he mentioned it is an anti-hero's origin story. So he's not a bad guy, but he's not a good guy either. I mean, he's kind of just a character that you know, goes his own path. All right? He does what he feels is right, and it doesn't necessarily mean that he's doing something heroic. He eventually becomes a hero, or rather, he becomes more of a hero once he joins the X-Men, which he doesn't do in the Gambit film. I mean, other X-Men mutants appear in, or rather, other mutants appear in Gambit, but I don't think they will be the X-Men, per se. Okay? So that's going to be pretty interesting to have it be an origin story. I like origin story because you really see that character development and you really get to see who these people are, these characters are before they became those characters. Alright? Now, what really is holding back the production, though, is that they don't have a director. Isn't that interesting? The 20th Century Fox announced a release date for this film. They got an actor for this film, but they don't have a director. They don't even have the vision. Alright? So Channing Tatum apparently has been reaching out to a lot of directors. He wants to get this film made. And they're kind of behind. They're kind of behind because they need to start shooting soon. They're going to be shooting in fall, but they don't have a director. He's reached out to Bennett Miller, director Bennett Miller. He's reached out to Darren Aronofsky. The script is complete and is going to continue reaching out to more directors. And I'm not sure why directors are giving him the no thanks, we're not interested. I'm not sure why, because this is a brand new story, alright? So maybe he's reaching out to the wrong directors, but the fact is that they don't have a director yet, and that's kind of concerning to the studios and as well as the fans. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. But anyways, that's what's going on. Now let's move over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and see what's going on over there. And let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, and specifically director James Gunn, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as he's going to be directing Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, a lot of fans have been chatting with him. After all, he does interact with the fans on Facebook. He's very, very connected with his fans because of his Facebook page. You can chat with them. He's constantly posting, and it's a great way for him to really connect with his audience. And one of the things he did mention to his audience is that something kind of disappointing, but it kind of doesn't really bother me that much, and that is he did confirm that Kang the Conqueror and the Shi'ar will not be appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy future sequels. He will not be appearing in the. They will not be appearing in the next sequel, and they will not be appearing in the sequels after that. They just will not be appearing at all, mainly because Kang the Conqueror and the Shi'ar are actually characters that are owned by 20th Century Fox. Okay, 20th Century Fox, of course, owns the mutants, the X-Men, and of course, Fantastic Four. And by mutants, I mean Deadpool and Gambit and a lot more. Alright, so because of that, they will not be appearing in the Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm not surprised about because Kang the Conqueror and Shi'ar actually have, I find that they have more to do with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men more than the Guardians of the Galaxy story of, you know, the Marvel Universe. But he does deal with the Avengers, and it is a big story after all, but it's not something that I'm that disappointed about. So I'm actually more excited to see Kang the Conqueror appear in a Fantastic Four sequel and see what they're going to do with that. Alright? Now, if they are going to do something like that, then it's possible that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men could possibly, I don't know, collide with each other. So, who knows? Anyways, so Kang the Conqueror and the Shi'ar will not be appearing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they can only appear legally in the Mutant Universe and the Fantastic Four universe, alright? So, moving on, let's talk about a Marvel Cinematic Universe film that's filming right now, and that's Captain America Civil War. And what I found very interesting is that when they were filming in Atlanta, Georgia, we saw Crossbones, and then Frank Grillo, who plays Crossbones, tweeted that he was done. He was wrapped. Filming has wrapped, okay, for #Civil War. So, I was really concerned, thinking about, like, is he completely done? Like, is he done, like, 100%? Like, he's not going back? There's no filming? Because that would mean that his role is very, very small, right? But it turns out that he is not done filming. I mean, he kind of hinted at the fact that he's not done filming. He put out a very, very ambiguous tweet. So he said in a tweet, to answer all those who think hashtag Crossbones is done, don't get caught with your guard down. Hashtag mayhem never done. Hashtag X. So just from that, we are to automatically assume that we are going to see more Crossbones aside from, or rather apart from, the filming in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a great thing. First of all, I want to see the Crossbones character more, and Crossbones, well, he plays a big part in the Captain America story in the comics, so, you know, it would be disappointing to see him in only one scene. So I'm glad to see that, well, you know, Frank Grillo is still very much connected with, you know, communicating with his fans to let the fans know that, no, he's not done yet. So that's a really, really great thing. You know, that's kind of a relief to me. So there you have it. Now, moving on, let's talk about a film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we have not talked a whole lot about, and that is Doctor Strange. The only thing that we know right now about Doctor Strange is that Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange. We also have a director, and also Kevin Feige mentioned that he will not be a master sorcerer, but he will be a master illusionist, like a scientist. Okay, so they're changing things up a bit, but that's all we know. Okay, so the next little bit of news, which is quite a big announcement, is that actress Tilda Swinton, who's a great actor, okay, she is finalizing a deal with Marvel Studios to play the Ancient One in Doctor Strange. Well, that is pretty big news. First of all, we got a great actor like Tilda Swinton. And to top things off, well, isn't the Ancient One a male character? So they're changing things up a bit. And what's really interesting is that the character of the Ancient One also trained Baron Mordo, who's rumored to play the main villain in the Doctor Strange solo film. And that's just a rumor. Now, typically, these rumors have turned out to be true. And to top things off, Baron Mordo, you know, he is quite the arch nemesis to Doctor Strange. So I would be surprised if they didn't use him as a main villain in this movie. So, you know what? I think that would be cool to see him in it. Especially if, you know, they were, you know, the Ancient One trained them both, alright? It's kind of like a Jedi thing. Where, you know, you have the Jedi Master train the two Jedis, and then the two Jedis, you know, one goes Sith and one goes, you know, peaceful, and then they go up against each other, right? Kind of like Obi-Wan and Anakin sort of thing. So that would be cool. I like that kind of character dynamic, all right? If that to really happen, of course. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing. And Tilda Swinton, most likely she will be the Ancient One. Anyways, I've talked about a lot of stuff. How do you feel about a lot of the things that I've talked about? Tilda Swinton being the Ancient One. Baron Mordo as the possible arch nemesis in the Doctor Strange film. And also bringing in Caliban into X-Men Apocalypse. And we also talked about the fact that we won't be seeing Kang the Conqueror and the Shi'ar in the Guardians of the Galaxy film, as well as the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. How do you feel about that? The only thing that the only time we're ever gonna see these characters in these films is if they appear in a Fantastic Four film or an X-Men film, or maybe a crossover film where we see them both together. So anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, @RaginNation. My name is Alex. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. Based off of their classic fairy tales do well, but other pieces of I guess other